All right, so in this video, I'm gonna show you another mobile home deal that our company invested in. I'm gonna start by showing you what the actual property looked like after we renovated it, and then I'm gonna show you how much money we ultimately made on the deal. So here's the actual property that we sold, and as you can see, it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom property. It's a 16 by 60, so just under probably around 1,000 square feet. This was a newer home, it was a 2016, but the previous owners had kind of lived in it and beat it up a bit. So we did have to come in and do some modifications. But ultimately outside, as you can see, it was kind of winter time here in Colorado, so we had some snow. But this community did require that we do some landscaping. So we just mulched the whole yard. And in the mobile home world, that's completely acceptable. So we did that. We did have to do a little bit of touch-up paint outside. So instead of painting the whole exterior, we went ahead and just did some painting. Inside, as you can see, these cabinets and countertops look pretty nice. These are all original. And that's a theme you'll get when you watch many of these videos where I show you all the other mobile home deals that we flipped. You'll see that we're not usually coming through and gutting cabinets and countertops. We're keeping the originals. Now these were a little beat up, so we did have to do some touch paint and things of that nature to make the cabinets look better. But ultimately, a lot of those appliances were there. We did have to add 1 or 2 used ones, but we put in new flooring. That's usually pretty common. So new carpet, new linoleum. We did some spot painting throughout the home, and these light fixtures were already there. And as you can see, it's a pretty nice property, but at the same time, this isn't coming through and doing the same extensive renovations that you're doing with real estate. And that's, I guess, the main point I want to get across is if you're a house flipper or a landlord and you're used to having to do a lot of renovations, in fact, this is closer to what you might do if you're a landlord, right? When you're a landlord, are you going through and spending as much money as someone who's trying to flip a home? Not at all, right? Because you know the tenant's gonna come through and they're gonna wear and tear it and you'll be replacing it before you know. So with mobile homes, I'd say our renovations are a lot closer to what you might be doing as a landlord versus what you do as a house flipper. The reason is that you'll see in a moment what we sold this for. The price points don't warrant paying nearly as much money on the renovation. Now, does that mean that you should do shoddy work or cut corners? Absolutely not. And in some cases, there are other companies who do that. They get a bad reputation, they get sued, and they're out of the business before you know it. So you want to do quality work, you want to make sure the homes are healthy and habitable, but you just don't have to do that extra level renovation. A lot of real estate investors stay out of this space not knowing how much money you can actually make in this space and how much easier it is compared to real estate. And that's what I want to show you. So I think you got a clear picture of what we did with the renovation and how that ultimately turned out. So now that you've seen what the property looks like, let me show you what the financials look like. So if this is your first time seeing this chart, this is our financial chart that we use to organize the financials for each property we sell. On the first line is our acquisition costs. That's how much we purchased the property for. And as you can see, we paid just over $19,000. I'm gonna round up and down to keep it simple for the video. So we purchased the property for $19,000, or let's call it $20,000. The repair and holding costs were just over $27,000. So we purchased it for around $20,000, we invested around $27,000. So our total investment into the property was $47,000, all in cost by the time we sold the property. I always pause here in these videos to just point out, imagine that, $47,000, your total cost into a house flip. Very low. Even if you wanted to turn this into a cash flow property, which I talk about in other videos, imagine only being in it for $47,000. If you got a down payment of, let's say, $10,000, your investment's only $37,000. And now you have someone making you monthly payments on that for the next 10 or 15 years. So that's amazing that that your investment can be as low as $47,000 on some of these properties. So ultimately, what did we sell this property for? We ended up selling this for $80,000, and after closing costs on the 6th line, you can see we made just over $32,000. And the return on investment came out to 69%. Pretty good if you consider we took $47,000 and made $32,000 profit on it. That's almost 70% return on investment. Now, how long did it take us? 135 days. Now that's about pretty darn good if you're doing a house flip, right? You know, if you're looking at 4 months, from the moment that you closed on the deal to the renovation to marketing to closing, 135 days. We did pretty darn good on this one. So in a nutshell, we invested around $47,000. We made a profit of around $32,000 and a 68% return on investment in 135 days. Now, if you're curious about how to get into this market in your local area, what should you do? First thing I'd recommend is figure out where the local mobile home communities are located in your area. Second, figure out what mobile homes are selling for in your area. You want to make sure that you're purchasing these at the right price so you can have a profit margin when you sell them, right? And then lastly, figure out who's your competition. Is there a lot of people in your market already doing this, or is the opportunity wide open? To help you do that, I created a free online workshop to help you do all three of those things. You can access the workshop at mobilehomefranchise.com. Everything you need is on there. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I do love hearing from people who are watching these videos. I hope this video was helpful. I'll see you on the next one.